Good morning, dear students. In the previous session, we have started the Unit 6, that is Optical Communication System Design. So, already I said this unit has three important concepts. One is related to the design of the optical link, means analysis before designing the optical system, optical fiber. Okay. The second one is after establishing the optical link. Okay. So how to estimate the performance of what is the performance of the optical system which is established. Okay. And the second concept is how to transmit the data. Means, for example, wavelength division multiplexing is generally used to transmit the data, to transmit various data from various information sources, okay, simultaneously. That is the second one. The third concept in this unit to be discussed is how to measure the attenuation as well as how to measure the dispersion offered by the optical fiber cable. So these are the three concepts generally we discuss, okay, in this unit, and already in the previous session we have started the first topic, that is point to point links. Okay. So key requirements needed in analyzing the link, that is desired transmission distance, bandwidth, error rate, and major requirement to transfer the data from source to the detector, that is light source, optical fiber cable, and the optical detector. If it is light source depends on selecting the light source depends on some few factors: emission wavelength, output power, number of emitting modes, radiating area, stability, and lifetime. In selecting the optical fiber cable, we have to depend on some following factors. They are core size, core refractive index, bandwidth, attenuation offered by the fiber, and another one is numerical aperture. When we go to photodetectors, selecting the photodetector depends on some factors, that is detector response time, quantum efficiency, and the noise figure or noise level generated in the photodetector. Okay? Right. So today we will try to discuss how to ensure whether the designed optical system is meeting the expected performance or not. The designed optical system is meeting the expected performance or not. This we can analyze using two methods. First one is link power budget. Second one is rise time budget. First one is link power budget. Second one, rise time budget. What is link power budget? You take here, there is a simple block diagram of the optical communication system. Okay. What is here? Okay. There is a transmitter block. There is a receiver block. Okay. Transmitter consists of optical source. Receiver, the first element is photodetector. Okay. Between these two, there is a optical fiber cable. But if you see, there are few rectangle shapes here. Let us know what are they. We already know you can connect the optical fiber with the optical source or optical fiber to the detector using a connector called as fiber fly lead. What is that? Fiber fly lead. So there is existing fiber fly lead here, which connects the optical fiber with the optical source, or here optical fiber with the photodetector, optical detector. Okay. You can see here there is this is not entire full length optical fiber cable. So it is not possible to lay a full length optical fiber. For example, the transmission distance is around 5 kilometers. So it is not possible to lay a optical fiber whose length is completely 5 kilometers. Okay, so it doesn't exist actually. For example, 200 meters optical fiber can be connected to another optical fiber using a connector or using a splicing technique. So at a stretch 5 kilometer optical fiber manufacturing is not possible. So for example, the optical fiber length is 200 meters as I said. So for every 200 meters you need to join that optical fiber, two optical fibers with a connector. The same thing happening here. This is one optical fiber, this is 2, this is 3 and so on. Okay, this is a, say for example 8, 9, 10 and so on. Okay, whatever the depends upon the length of the transmission distance. Okay, if you see here, I have used a rectangle here. This is connector actually. Okay, a crossed line rectangle. Here is also there is a rectangle. It is a splicer. Okay, that means you are connecting the fiber lead, okay, fiber fly lead to the optical fiber using a connector. You are connecting one optical fiber with another optical fiber by using splicing mechanism. Okay, so how many number of splices are used? It depends upon the transmission distance. Okay, how many number of fiber splicing you have used? Okay, how many connectors you have used? It depends on the length of it depends upon the number of optical fibers you have used through the entire transmission distance. Okay, right. So if you observe here, we already studied in the previous sessions that every connector, when you connect the optical fiber with another optical fiber or you connect the optical fiber with the source, okay, there exists certain amount of loss at that particular connecting point. Okay, and we also studied in the previous sessions how to find that loss. Okay, we came to know that the loss can be measured using a factor called coupling efficiency. Okay, so from that concept we have learned that every connector is offering certain, there exists certain power loss at every connector. Okay, for example, the power loss, if the power loss is there at the connector, you are calling it as LC. If the power loss is there at the splicing point, you call it as LSP. So how many number of LSPs are there? It depends upon how many number of splicing you have done. Okay, and how many number of connectors means it depends on how many number of LC means loss at the connector means it depends on how many number of connectors you have used. Okay, right. The next one is there is a term called alpha F. Alpha F. Here. What is alpha? Alpha is called as attenuation. Alpha F means fiber attenuation, means attenuation by the optical fiber. Okay, this is one optical fiber and it is offering alpha F attenuation. This is the second optical fiber offering certain attenuation alpha F and so on. Why we have to calculate? If you observe, I have drawn the entire optical system. My aim is to find out the losses occurring at various points along the transmission distance from the source to the receiver or optical source to the optical detector. Okay, why we have to do this? Okay, we can calculate the link loss budget. We can calculate what we can do. We can calculate the link loss budget, which is very much useful. Which is very much useful to understand the performance of the optical fiber link. Okay, what we are studying actually, if you go back, okay, there are two analyses to ensure the desired system performance is meeting the expected performance or not. For which the first one is link power budget. In the link power budget, what we have done, we have calculating the total power loss. It can happen when we know the power loss at n number of connectors or splicing points. Okay. For example, the total power loss in the link can be given by Ps minus Pr. That is nothing but 2Lc plus alpha L plus system margin. What is Ps? What is meant by Ps? Optical power at the source, emerging at the source. What is Lc? I will discuss sensitivity later. Lc means connector loss. What is alpha? Just now we came to know it is fiber attenuation. What is capital L? Capital L, it is the transmission distance, length. Then what is PR? PR means receiver sensitivity. Receiver sensitivity means, for example, at the receiver, what is there? At the receiver there is a photodetector. When the light falls on the photodetector, what photodetector should do? It should generate the varying current which is proportional to the light falling on it. If the photodetector is not generating the electron hole base or varying current to the proportionality of the applied input light or optical power, okay, then we can say that there is a optical loss. There is a power loss at the detector point. Okay. Okay. Or in another words, you can say light is falling on it, but light is falling on the detector, but detector is unable to generate the time varying current proportional to the input optical power. Means you can say the detector is not sensitive to the input optical power, or sensitivity is less. Due to that sensitivity, poor sensitivity, what is happening? What is happening? Some power loss is occurring at the detector point. Okay, so that is the reason receiver sensitivity means the power loss due to receiver sensitivity is also granted. Okay, apart from the power loss at the connector, power loss at the splicing, power loss at the various attenuation. Okay, we need to consider the power loss due to low sensitivity of the photodetector. Okay. So with this, all these power values, loss of the power at different points, we can calculate the link loss budget. Okay. Link power budget, or you can say link power budget. Link power budget means, now you tell me what is link power budget. Link power budget means the calculating the power loss at different points throughout the entire transmission distance in an optical communication link. Okay, is called as link power budget or link loss budget. Okay, so if there is more power loss, okay, if for example you have established the link, okay, but if the loss is more than expected, okay, then you can say that the performance is not up to the mark. Performance of the established link is not up to the mark. If the loss is less than the expected value, then you can say performance of the optical link is good. Okay. The next one is rise time budget. Okay, first one is link power budget. Second one is rise time budget. Using these two budget analysis, you can come to know whether the optical system is meeting the desired performance or not. What is rise time budget? what you have done actually for estimating the link power budget, you have calculated the power loss at different points. Rise time budget means calculating the delay at different points in the entire optical communication system from source to the detector. Okay. For example, the system performance or the system speed can be reduced, may be reduced. The system speed may be reduced due to some factors. What are those? Transmitter rise time, group velocity dispersion, model dispersion rise time, and receiver rise time. What is transmitter rise time? Transmitter rise time means for example, at the transmitter there is a optical source. The emission response time is one of the factors of any optical source to be considered. Okay, one of the factors to be considered. Emission response time is the one of the factors to be considered for any optical source. Okay, what is emission response time? When the input signal is applied to the light source, what the light source should do within very less time, within less than, for example, 1 nanosecond, it should be able to produce the light proportional to the applied input voltage. If it is taking much time, if it is not responding to the input applied voltage due to the crystal defects, okay, due to the semiconductor crystal defects, okay, or you can say the quantum efficiency is poor inside the laser diode, optical source means laser diode or LED. Then what happens? You are applying the input voltage, but the detector is not, the optical source is not generating the optical power immediately. It is taking much time. It is called transmitter rise time. Which may reduce the speed of the system link. For example, next one is group velocity dispersion or model dispersion, whatever it may be, means the propagation of the modes inside the optical fiber is taking much time due to the defects of the optical fiber, due to dispersion, okay, spreading of the modes inside the optical fiber. Okay, all the modes are not traveling at the same speed. Okay, then also the system speed may be reduced. Another one is receiver rise time. What is receiver rise time? At the receiver, the first key element is photodetector. When the light is falling on the photodetector, what is happening? The photodetector should generate the proportional time varying current immediately, within no time, that is, for example, less than 1 nanosecond. But if the photodetector is not generating the time varying current immediately, okay, because the electron hole pairs inside the photodetector are not generated immediately after when the light is falling on it, okay, immediately due to the crystal defects or whatever it may be inside the photodetector or photodiode, then it is called as the receiver rise time. So we need to consider the transmitter rise time or rise time due to the propagation of the modes inside the optical fiber, rise time due to the receiver insensitivity. Okay, so all these we can consider, okay, to estimate the speed performance of the what we say optical link. Okay, so using these two methods, one is link power budget, another one is rise time budget, we can estimate the performance of the system. Next topic is line coding in optical links. Okay, what is the use of line coding? Line coding is nothing but set of rules to transmit the signal in a particular pattern. Okay, so what is the use? What is the necessity of the line coding? Line coding is generally used to minimize the errors that are produced from the channel interference by introducing the redundancy bits, by adding the redundancy bits. Okay. The next one is any degree of error-free transmission can be achieved using line coding. The next one is you can bring the trade-off between the timing as well as noise bandwidth in case of selecting the particular line coding. You can bring the trade-off between the timing as well as noise bandwidth. Okay, the next one is it also needs to have an inherent error detecting capability. Line coding also has error detecting capability, inherent error detecting capability. So since there are some advantages of line coding, generally line coding techniques are preferred while transmitting the data in digital signal transmission, generally preferred in optical communication at the transmitter part. Okay. So generally we know, we already studied in the previous years. There are three types of coding techniques or codes. One is NRZ. NRZ means non-return to zero. RZ means return to zero. So NRZ codes, RZ codes as well as block codes are generally preferred to transmit, are generally preferred, are the line coding techniques generally preferred to transmit the data if it is digital signal processing in case of a optical communication system. What are the few more advantages of the line coding? Okay, it offers high bandwidth. They are less affected to temperature variations. Okay, error monitoring is provided in this line codes. Okay. The next topic is wavelength division multiplexing. What is wavelength division multiplexing? You can see the diagram here. You can see the diagram here. Okay. There are few information sources of different wavelengths, and all these information need to be transmitted over a single optical fiber cable. Okay, simultaneously. Okay, for which we require generally wavelength division multiplexer, or we go with wavelength division multiplexing technique. Okay, so here a number of information sources are there. All the sources, the signals coming from all the sources are having different wavelengths, say lambda 1, lambda 2 and so on, lambda n. They need to be transmitted over a single optical fiber channel simultaneously, for which you require wavelength division multiplexer at the transmitter part, and at the receiver part there exists wavelength division demultiplexer. Wavelength demultiplexer at the receiver part. Okay, to separate the different information sources, information with different wavelengths. You can see here, underlying principles of any communication system is to transmit the number of signals through a channel at a time or simultaneously. Optical signals of different wavelengths can be transmitted along a fiber simultaneously using this. What is this technique? It is wavelength division multiplexing technique. What are the features of wavelength division multiplexing? One is to upgrade the data rate capacity of the optical fiber. Okay. Okay. The second one is any type of signal can be sent simultaneously and independently over the same fiber. Okay, simultaneously over the same fiber. Another one is wavelength sensitive optical routing devices in designing the communication networks and switches have more importance. Okay. There are two types of wavelength division multiplexing techniques. The first one is unidirectional wavelength division multiplexing. The second one is bidirectional wavelength division multiplexing. What is unidirectional? What is bidirectional? If we go back, see the same block diagram. If you observe, you are able to transmit the information of many information bits of different wavelengths from various information sources okay, in a single direction. You are transmitting here, this is the transmitter and this is the receiver. Okay, you are able to transmit in one direction. This is called unidirectional wavelength division multiplexing. In case of bidirectional, some part of the receiver, okay, what we are there here all are receiving units, but actually some parts are replaced by transmitting units, say TX, TX, TX. Okay, means you have a capability to transmit the data from this end also. Not only in one direction, in another direction. And another point is, at this transmitter end, we replace few transmitters by receiving units to receive the information coming from this end. So if you observe, you are at one end transmitting units are there, receiving units are there. At another end, receiving units are there, transmitting units are there. That means you can transmit the data, you can receive the data. Are you able to understand? This is bidirectional wavelength division multiplexing. Are you able to understand this? Okay. So in the next class, we'll try to learn an important concept in the next class, next session. Okay. Thank you very much.